Hi everyone, today we're looking at Chemistry Fluxx. Now this purchase should come as no surprise to anyone who knows me. They know I'm a big fan of Fluxx, being the game that got me into tabletop gaming in the first place. So I saw this, I had to get it. It's the latest edition of Fluxx, and as you can tell by the theme, it's all based on chemical elements and making compounds of those elements. If you're familiar with the standard version of Fluxx, then it is basically the same game as all of the different editions of Fluxx are. However, there are some specific rules that are unique to this particular version. So we'll have a look at the back. The same sort of thing you get on any Fluxx game. So 2 to 6 players, ages 8 and up, and it takes anywhere from 5 to 30 minutes to play. Fluxx obviously a very random game, so who knows how long it would last. It's all based on the goals and the keepers. So let's open the box up and take a look. We have the obligatory Looney Labs catalogue here, showing you all the different versions of Fluxx available. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 of these, I think, so far. That's not really a lot, but Fluxx dice is intriguing me. I'll have to get that at some point. We have the rules, which are, again, pretty much the same as any version of Fluxx that you would get. However, there are some clarifications on the back. Most of these are the same clarifications as you get generally. However, as I say, there's a few here that are to do with specifically the chemistry version. So let's just put those away. And then we have the cards inside the box. So let's get these out. So there's our basic Fluxx rules card, the same. The backs are just, that one's always white. The backs are the same as any other version of Fluxx. This is a meta rule which you can play with if everyone agrees. This stays on the table during the entire game, and this is the goal foundry rule. So during your turn you may discard as many of your goal cards as you choose, then draw that many cards. So if you've got a handful of goals and you can't really do anything else, then that card comes in quite useful. But for beginners of the game, you probably don't want to use this. You want to just, show them the basic mechanics. The rules that go out on the table are probably confusing enough for some new players. So most of these cards, as I say, are the same as standard Fluxx rules, so hand limits, play limits. This one is a fun one, we'll talk about it in a minute. So as you can see, the keepers are all chemical elements, and there's some bits of lab equipment in there as well. And then the goals are generally compounds of the elements, so as I say, aluminium oxide, or iron disulfide, pyrite. That's another Fluxx specific one, so we'll go through that. Nitrogen, silver, sugar as a goal. That's another specific one. Most of these cards should be pretty recognisable. That's one of the goals that requires all the various bits of lab equipment. Oh, that's another specific one. And that one. Well, that one's not, but it sort of is, so I'll talk about that. So you get the idea. It is just standard Fluxx, but with chemical elements. So, what is different? Let's go through some of these specific rules. So this one's spontaneous reaction. This is just the take the card from the top of the draw pile and play it immediately. So that's a card that's in most of the other versions, but just not with that name. The lab coat bonus, this is if you've got a lab coat on, which if you've ever seen Andy Looney at a convention, he normally does. Or if you have the lab coat keeper in front of you, you get to draw an extra card. This action, name an element that appears on a keeper. All players must look in their hands for any goals that require that element and then give them to you. And if they don't have any, then you just gain a card from the top of the deck. Compound it. Once during your turn, if you can name a legal chemical compound that can be formed from 2 or more element keepers you have in play, and which hasn't yet been used for this card, then you get to draw 2 extra cards. And then this one is the fun one. This is the helium effect. So any player who's got the helium keeper in front of them must talk in a high-pitched voice as if they've inhaled helium. If they fail to do that at any time, then they just give the helium to another player. They get to choose who they give it to. When this rule is first played, if the helium is not out on the table, then you have to find it. So you first look through all the discarded cards. If it's not in there, then you look through the draw pile. And then if it is in the draw pile, you put it out in front of you, and then you have to shuffle the draw pile up. So that's a quick look at Chemistry Fluxx. I can highly recommend it, as I can highly recommend all versions of Fluxx. So if you want to know more, then you just go to www.looneyLabs.com. And yeah, that's Chemistry Fluxx. Thanks very much for watching, everyone, and we'll see you next time. Bye.